Hello, Sprouts. I'm Crimson Clover, and welcome back to Clover Reads. Today, for our nice, wholesome stories, we have 3 that I've chosen. And the first one is from Reddit user BananaBus22, titled, A Stranger Asked Me for a Hug. This happened a few years ago. I was walking to my job at a taco place. It was the same routine, so I was listening to some music like always. Then, I felt a tap on my shoulder. I live in a bad area, so I was worried and confused. I turned around and saw a girl with red puffy eyes. I took out my earbuds and asked how I could help her. She told me that I looked like her older brother who passed away last year and asked if I could give her a hug. I'll be honest, I was conflicted. A part of me wanted to give her that hug because she looked so sad, but this was just so out of the ordinary. I told her she could hug me, and I opened my arms. I was expecting a quick and awkward hug, but this was something else. Her hug was so tight and she was shaking. My heart felt full like it would explode. I could really feel the love she had for her former brother in that hug. After a while, she let go and thanked me, then turned around and walked away. I turned to walk to work, but I couldn't help but cry on my walk. It's been a few years, and I still remember that hug to this day. My average crappy day at work that day was just a little bit better than usual. I hope I made a good memory for her like she did for me, and if she ever somehow sees this, hey, I'm the big guy you asked for a hug for in the streets. I hope you're doing better after losing a family member. It's never easy, and please, keep their memory alive in your heart. That goes for all who have lost someone. I hope my story brings you all smiles, and have a good day, y'all. Oh, the y'all. Sounds like something that happened in the South then. Anyway, OP, that was really kind of you to go ahead and give her a hug. A lot of people would have been suspicious and like, is she trying to take advantage? But no, you were very kind to offer her that hug. And I hope you and her are both doing well now. And moving on, we have our second story from Reddit user Metal Gadsy, titled, My Dad Has His Own Way of Expressing Affection. He's not much of a talker, even though it got a bit more during the past week since he retired. I think he never told my sister or me that he loved us, but he doesn't need words to show us. When I was a kid, I had this magazine with Playmobil houses, and there was one that I really, really wanted to have. It was so cool, and I begged my mom so much for it, but she always said it was too expensive. My dad spent weeks in his little workshop down in the basement, which was basically a hole in the ground with a metal plate covering it. He was taller than the hole. Wow, how did he get down there then? Building what I thought was beehives. Someday, I spotted something covered with a sheet, and I wanted to have a look. But Dad told me it was a surprise for the bees, and if I looked, they would see, and the surprise would be ruined. Then, on Christmas Eve, there were 2 handmade wooden Playmobil houses under the tree. Dad had recreated the one I'd wished for so much, and another one for my sister. My parents still have them, and every time I see them, I can't help but admire my dad's craftsmanship and all the work he put into it. A couple of years back, I asked him for an electric screwdriver for Christmas. He got me one from Makeda, most of which were teal and turquoise, but the one he gave me is black. I've never heard of this brand. As metalhead and aspiring event technician, this is my go-to color for clothes and many other items like backpacks and stuff. It might have been a coincidence, but it just feels intentional. Last year, I gifted him a little stone man I'd made for Christmas. He loved it so much, and it still sits in a very central spot for everyone to see. My mom got him into stealing this idea. For the next couple of months, Dad made lots of stone men for pretty much all of his family. We're talking 7 siblings, most of which were married and have, except for 1, adult kids. I think he made at least 30 to 40 stone men. When my sister and I got into rock climbing, he also made one for each of us, climbing up a piece of driftwood. And of course, he sent me countless pictures. One of them I spotted one that looks a bit like a ghost, almost like No-Face from Spirited Away, and I pointed out how much I liked it. He gave it to me for Christmas. My dad often seems a bit cold or grumpy. To be fair, he can be really grumpy. Or distant. Now that I'm grown up, I understand that this is most likely due to his rough childhood he's had. And I'm also sure that he's kind of neurodivergent, which for sure also plays its part. That doesn't mean he's not capable of love. He just doesn't express it verbally. Instead, he expresses it by helping you out, or by giving you the most thoughtful gifts I could think of. He puts so much thought and effort into them. Some are insanely practical, like a toolbox. Others are just pure works of art, like the Playmobil houses or the stone men. Even though he never tells me that he loves me, I still know because he shows me. I never thought that he didn't love me, even when he was distant and grumpy. Sometimes, actions say more than words. And I agree with that. A lot of times, people will say one thing and then do something contradictory. So it's nice when they do the nice thing and then just don't say anything. My grandparents were kind of like that. So it could be neurodivergent. It could also just be a generational thing. Some men just end up raised like that. Normalize being kind to everybody. And our third story for the day is from Reddit user Lingo's Reddit. Lingos. It's like language lingos. And it's titled, Met a very nice elderly woman at the bus stop and it brightened my day. I'm a very socially awkward person. I hate having to talking to people IRL, so I rarely have interaction with people, let alone strangers. So I went to the bus station. The woman was already there. I sat down next to her, and in the most friendly tone I've heard in a while, she just said, "Good morning." We smiled at each other and went along with what we did. She read a book, I watched a show. The bus came and she came up to me. I was really focused on my show and was like, "Hey, don't you take the bus?" And I just looked at her, smiled, and was like, "I will eventually take a bus, but not that one. I need to take the other line, but have a nice ride." She thanked me, looked back at me as she went into the bus, and we waved at each other as the bus departed. Nothing of that kind ever happened to me, but it once made me believe that not everyone sucks. Yeah, phrasing. But yes, that sounds like a very nice, wholesome interaction. I've rarely taken the bus. Usually only when I'm out of town and touristy areas that have them. I don't live in a centralized enough area to take a bus, but that is the kind of interaction I would hope to have. Nice, quiet, not too chatty of a person, because I would find that really intimidating. But anyway, thank you for all three of our OPs for sharing your stories. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye!